Hello everyone, welcome to the Human Anatomy class. This is topic 2, part 1 of the class, and this topic will introduce you to the cell, and the study of cells is known as cytology. What is a cell? A cell is defined as the basic unit of life which forms all the structures in the body and is capable of performing all vital bodily functions. You might have seen kids playing with Lego blocks. Just like the Lego blocks are used to construct bigger structures, similarly, the cells are like building blocks of all plants and animal bodies. They come from division of cells that were pre-existing. The human body is made up of over 75 trillion cells, and anatomically, there are approximately 200 types of cells in the human body. However, if you classify cells genetically, that means based on their number of chromosomes, then there are two main types of cells in the human body. The first type of cells are known as the sex or the germ cells. An example of sex or the germ cells are the sperms in males and the eggs or the oocytes in females. While the other type of cells are the somatic cells. So the somatic cells are every cell in your body that is not a sperm or an egg. So the basic difference between these two types of cells is in the number of chromosomes. If you notice, I have put a question mark after the letter N. N denotes the number of chromosomes. So in somatic cells, the number of chromosomes is 46 or 23 pairs. The number of chromosomes in the sex or germ cells is always half the number of the somatic chromosomes. So it is only 23 in the sex cells. So 23 pairs in somatic cells and 23 in sex cells. The subsequent slides show you figures that give examples of somatic and sex cells. This slide shows you two different types of cells. The one on the left side are fibroblasts, while the one on the right side, the red colored ones, are erythrocytes or the red blood cells. Both of these cells form the same tissue, connective tissue. However, both these cells differ from each other structurally as well as functionally. These are epithelial cells. An example would be the cells of your skin. Notice how they look like a tightly packed row of bricks with almost no space in between the cells. These are muscle cells. We have different types of muscle cells inside the human body. The one on the left is a skeletal muscle cell, while the one on the right side is a smooth muscle cell. The skeletal muscle cell can be present in the muscles of your arms, while the smooth muscle cells are present in the walls of hollow organs inside your body like the stomach. This is a fat cell or an adipose cell. Due to the accumulation of fat or lipid in the cytoplasm of this cell, the nucleus, which is purple colored, is pushed towards the cell membrane or the periphery. So this gives the appearance of a signet ring to this cell. This is a macrophage, a soldier cell in your body. A cell that fights diseases and infections. This is part of your immune system, that means the lymphatic system. This is a nerve cell, the longest cell in your body, anatomically known as the neuron. The function of this cell is to gather information, that means input, and then take a decision, and this order goes to an effector organ that controls body functions. I have shown you some examples of somatic cells in the previous slide. This slide gives you the example of a germ cell. This is a human sperm. This is the only cell in the body that has a tail that is made up of flagellum. This slide introduces you to the anatomy of the cell. That means the structure inside the cell. Every cell is covered by an outer covering or envelope known as the plasma lemma. The plasma lemma is also known as the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Everything inside of the plasma lemma is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is divided into a liquid part called the cytosol, and small organ-like structures which are known as organelles. So if the cell is a factory, then the organelles would be the small machineries inside of a cell. The organelles are further subdivided into membranous and non-membranous organelles. Membranous organelles are those that have a membrane covering around them, while the non-membranous organelles do not have a membrane around them. Examples of membranous organelles can be the nucleus, mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, while non-membranous organelle examples would be ribosomes, the microvilli, cytoskeleton, etc. This figure shows the anatomy of a typical cell, and we are going to learn about all of these structures or organelles one by one in the subsequent slides. We will start with the plasma lemma or the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the outermost covering of the cell. It is made up of different types of lipids, means fats such as phospholipids, glycolipids. It is also made up of proteins. It is made up of cholesterol. And the main functions of the cell membrane are: the membrane isolates the cell from the outer environment. It gives it a separate identity. It controls how much exchange will go on with the outer environment, what are the things that are going out, what are the things that can come in, and this property is known as permeability. It also enables the cell to talk to a neighboring cell or to the outside environment. This is known as cell-to-cell communication. This figure describes the cell membrane. The slide contains two figures. The one on the left side shows you the structure of the cell membrane, and a part of this figure is zoomed on the right side. If you look at the left panel of the figure, on the top is a blue shaded portion and extracellular fluid is written there. That is the outside of the cell, while where it is written cytoplasm, that is the inside, and the cell membrane is isolating the cell from the extracellular fluid. The main component of the plasma membrane is a phospholipid bilayer. Bilayer means two layers, and phospholipid is a special type of lipid, that means fat, which has a phosphate group attached to it. So if you look at the zoomed part of the figure, the red circular structures are the heads of the phospholipids, and each head has two blue tails coming out of it. The heads are hydrophilic. Hydro means water, philic is loving. So the heads love water. They are the water loving part of phospholipids, while the blue tails are hydrophobic. Phobia means fear, so fear of water. That means they are water hating tails. And interspersed in this phospholipid bilayer are the yellow structures. Those are cholesterol. The other type of lipid that is present, you can see in the blue part right below where it's written extracellular fluid, you can see glycolipids. Glycolipids means lipids or fats to which sugar moieties, that means sugar groups, have been attached. So the phospholipid bilayer is made up of the hydrophilic heads which line the inside and the outside, while the hydrophobic tails are in the middle. The glycolipids and the glycoproteins, that means proteins that also have sugar moieties attached to them, they form a special coating which is known as the glycocalyx. Looking at the figure again, so you see here the phospholipid bilayer with the red heads and the blue tails, and the yellow cholesterol molecule which is present in this phospholipid bilayer, it provides fluidity to the membrane. If there is no cholesterol in the membranes would be really rigid. There wouldn't be any flexibility. You can also see the glycolipids sticking out from the phospholipid bilayer. You can see it in the blue shaded portion of the figure. In addition to these, what else do you see here? You see proteins, right? You see blue colored proteins that are traveling through the entire width of the membrane, as well as some proteins outside. So let us look at these proteins. The plasma membrane has two types of proteins: peripheral proteins and integral proteins. Peripheral proteins are those proteins that are attached superficially, that means to the outside of the cell membrane, while the integral proteins are integrated. That means they are embedded deep within the cell membrane. And the function of the integral protein is to form channels that allow things to move across the cell membrane. Since cells are bound by cell membranes, does it mean that the cell membranes are totally isolating the cells? Not at all. Just like in a house, you might have multiple rooms and the rooms are not isolated. Rooms have doors and windows to allow people to move in and move out. Similarly, cell membranes also have junctions. We call them the membrane junctions. And here we are going to learn briefly about three types of membrane junctions. The first one is a tight junction. A tight junction, from the name itself, this is really tight. So these are impermeable. They will not allow things to move in or out of the cells. And they are basically binding the cells together, and they prevent things to leak out from the cells and go into the intercellular space. The second one is known as desmosomes. Desmosomes are the junctions that anchor, that bind the cells to the neighboring cells or to the base. While gap junctions are like windows. Gap junctions allow free communication. They allow things to move in and out between cells. This figure illustrates the three types of membrane junctions that we have just covered: the gap junctions, the tight junctions, and the desmosomes.